Hello! This has been talked about before. Why is there not a Final Fantasy collection, amalgamation? It's already been called an anthology, even though it's like, I think only 2 or 3 games. Um, and it was Final Fantasy Chronicles, but that was Chrono Trigger, whatever you want to call it, and Final Fantasy 4. Um, and I'm still waiting for like a downloadable version of Final Fantasy 3, but and 4 on PlayStation Network, but that will never happen because I don't know. Square's weird. Um, but yeah, I'll probably get 3 and 4 on DS, and I had 4 on PS1. But anyway, why does Alpha Megasin mention this in several of his videos? Why hasn't Square put 1 through 9 on a single disc for any system, or at least he said that like 2 years ago, and I think you said it again a year ago. And now that the new fancy ass consoles are at, it kind of would make sense. Although another idea would be to just port all of them to PlayStation Network for PS4 and even Xbox One, and possibly Wii U, just because they had the first couple Final Fantasy games on there, the first 5 or 6 games. Um, and I'm sure Nintendo fans would actually probably like 7. Um, and eight's one of that mixed bag game. Well, so is 7, but most people bitch about 7 because people, it got them into RPGs just like Final Fantasy 6 did, and so people want to gripe and bitch and discredit it because it was the beginning. It's just like Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, you know, or Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. Those games people are gonna bitch about because they're so highly praised and because it's some of the first games that people played. Now, I haven't played almost any of those. I started 7, never beat it. I played 6, never beat it. I haven't played Ocarina of Time because I suck at Zelda games, and I hate Zelda games. The only ones I like are A Link to the Past, probably because it's easy as shit, and the Oracle games, and people hate those. So it makes sense I like them because I like games that people hate, generally. Um, but yeah, I don't understand. There's several things that Square could do with this kind of concept. Again, for all of them, for download, for PSN, Xbox Live, and Nintendo Network, is that what they call it now? I don't really keep up with Nintendo shit because, frankly, ever since they started Nintendo Direct, I was just against it. Because they show, from what I can tell, they show the same thing every couple weeks, and they'll finally announce something, and it probably won't be out for a year, or 2 years, or 3 years. Hell, I'm still waiting for the only games that I was ever excited for on the Nintendo Wii U. Think about that. Xenoblade Chronicles X. Still nothing. Still nothing. After nearly 3 years of waiting. Okay, that's unexcusable. Alright, that's one thing. Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem. I don't give two fucks about Fire Emblem because they're way too fucking expensive. But Shin Megami Tensei is my shit. I just got into the games. I just got Digital Devil Saga on PlayStation Network for like $5. I got Persona 3 a couple months ago for like $10. I'll probably get Persona 4. I'm hyped for Persona 5. I have Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. I started that a while ago. I need to get back to it as soon as I get a PS2 again because I always kill them, damn it. But yeah, I love Shin Megami Tensei. So, Tensei, I don't know the exact pronunciation because I'm not Japanese. I'm white bread American, so yeah. Um, which is kind of sad because if you basically come to California, you're gonna be white bread. It doesn't matter who the fuck you are, unless you're uh, what's the word? Unless you're Asian or maybe Russian, because you don't have to conform because you can move to freaking San Francisco and you'll be fine. But if you're anything else, you're probably going to end up becoming Americanized to the extreme. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, Final Fantasy games. One and two. Very, very fun games. And another thing they could do, the PSP games that sold like shit. I played the first one. I didn't keep it long. What was it, the second one? Second one. Really cool, really good graphics. It got shit on because, I don't know, I guess because it was just a remake. I mean, they did that with like God of War. IGN gave like the God of War collection a 7 because it's a remake. Well, not really a remake. It's a okay. Final Fantasy 2 was a remake. God of War was a HD up resolution type dealy, but you know, both still basically had the same sort of concept. They're the same game, just with better visuals. But Final Fantasy 2 looks way better, and I think they improved several things from the original game. But it would be cool if they had the PSP versions of 1 and 2 as a bonus, if they did like a disc-based version of all the first 9 Final Fantasy games. You know, if you beat 1 and 2, boom, you get the PSP games. Or you beat, like, say, 4 or 5, you get the PSP games. Or beat all of them. That would be a pain in the ass, and that would suck, though. I'd suggest beating 1 and 2, or one of the other 2D games, possibly. 3 and 4. And to have the original versions, you beat the games, you get the either... you could also include the PSP versions of 3 and 4, if you beat those games, or the Nintendo DS versions. Do you know how insane that would be? There's 3 different versions of each of those games. That would be insane. Okay? I don't like 3, I'll admit that, but 4, that's like everyone's fanboy game. 4, 6, and 7. You know, those are the big 3 in terms of Final Fantasy. Personally, I like 12. I haven't played 10 yet. Though 4 is really cool, and I also really love 5. And yes, I'm talking about the poorly translated PlayStation version. I will get the Game Boy Advanced version of that, as well as 6, just to see how it compares eventually. But yeah, I actually like it. And I really like the pirate theme and at the beginning of the game, and there's actually a dragon at the beginning of the game, which was kind of cool. And there's already a chocobo at the beginning of the game. That's freaking cool. Love chocobos. And yeah, 5 and 6. Again, beat those games, you can get the Game Boy Advance versions. Holy shit, that would be freaking cool. And again, 5 is like one of the most underrated games in the series when I think about it. Same with 3. Just because it wasn't released in the United States, and what it was on the 3DS, which was a remake. I didn't really enjoy it that much, but for those who didn't get to play it, and the only way I think you can play Final Fantasy 3 right now is on the Ouya, of all things. Yeah, why? It made no sense. Did Square get like a deal from them? Hey, if you support our streaming only console, when streaming is shite, we'll throw some of the money your way. What? How? It came out in what, 2011 or 12, when streaming in the U.S., let alone the world, was shite, and it's still shite today. Okay? Why do that? It makes no sense. But yeah, I don't think it's on Nintendo's eShop thing or anything like that, at least to my knowledge. If it is, someone throw me a link. I don't know. I don't have a Wii U yet, so I can't download that shit anyway. But yeah, that'd be a good thing for people to play. The original version of Final Fantasy 3, and again, if you beat the game, you get the freaking It'd be cool if you could get the PSP version of the game or the 3DS version, or regular DS. Sorry. Final Fantasy VII. Again, no need to talk about it. And the original game is like 3 or 4 discs long. And I have it downloaded. I have most of the Final Fantasy, I have 6 or 7 of the first 9 games downloaded for PSN, which is awesome. So I've started most of them. I was playing through 1 and 2 because they're so easy and simple and fun, and I just love grinding the shit out of that game. But yeah, 7 is like one of those games, it's hit or miss, just like 6, and it's because it was everyone's first game, so, you know, and also, like me, everyone was spoiled on the freaking ending by like the year 2003, so, people who only played 6 and didn't ever play a Final Fantasy game again got all butt hurt because Final Fantasy 7 got hella fame in like, well, 2003 to like 2000 ever. Yeah. So now there's like this huge Final Fantasy 6 fanboy war with Final Fantasy 7 fans who now become fanboys because holy shit, it's a huge deal. I mean, they both basically both have similar elements: magic, steampunk, weird looking characters, really stupid costumes. I mean, okay, that's almost every Final Fantasy game, okay? And don't bitch at me. You know how many belts are on like freaking Final Fantasy characters? Do you know how many like freaking spiky haircuts? And mind you, that's like frickin' Japan's love for Americans and Western Europeans. Okay, that's admiration right there. When you can both love and parody at the same time, and it just pleases everyone. Come on. Now if they could do the same thing for like black people, yeah, get on that, Japan. And don't tell me the dude from Final Fantasy 13. No. He was just an asshole, and he was really annoying and tedious. And I'm sorry, I don't like you. What the hell is his name? S something. It's incredibly stupid, and he was like the dad of the game. And I'm just like, but Snow was the only one who's smart in the first 3 to 4 hours of the game, and no one likes him because he's so optimistic. The fuck? Yeah, he's optimistic. He's the only one using guns in this game. Are you fucking serious? Dude, he's the only one actually charging into battle and shit. You're gonna bitch about that. But it's all about lightning, right? Motherfucking lightning. The evil bitch who's PMSing through the whole first 4 or 5 hours of the game. Oh my god. You totally ruined my sister's life by dating her. You holding resistance group because I'm a policewoman. I am so hardcore. I am so... And don't get me going on Hope the Hopeless, alright? Which, yes, that is my nickname for that character. But yeah, anyway, let's get back to Final Fantasy Collection, if they would ever make one. Sorry if you don't like my opinion on Final Fantasy 13, which again, I never finished. And don't bitch at me for that. Almost no one finished that game. Anyway, including people who reviewed it because they all gave it 9s. Ah! Okay, Final Fantasy VIII. One of the mixed bags of Final Fantasy, just like 13. People are hit or miss on it because of the draw system and magic. I actually enjoyed it. I've grinded through it a couple times. Beat the first boss, and I think that was it because the map system's really weird, but it's a really fun game. I like the battle system. I wish it weren't so fucking slow, and I wish the level up system was a bit better and more organized, and the menu system is crap, but overall I really liked it. It's really, really neat. But yeah, I can understand why people don't like it. It's pretty grind heavy. And while it's not necessarily steampunk, it's more like ultra techno 5. It's more industrial than 7 or 6. Um, I like the world that it sets, and yes, there is for some reason magic in it, which doesn't really mesh well, but I still enjoyed using it. Um, I like the unique setting, and you're playing like a sort of you're playing as mercenaries, child mercenaries, teenage mercenaries, whatever. And I don't even know what they're up against because again I haven't gotten very far in the game, but it's really unique in that setting. Um, and I wish they would do something more with that. And I mean, they made like a crap ton of Final Fantasy VII sequels. I wish they would make at least one 8 sequel, maybe expand on the lore, but whatever. I still really enjoy the game. And Final Fantasy IX, a return to form for the Final Fantasy series, going back to like a mix between 6 and 7. You know, you have um, the old school 2D combat, but you also have like I think you had sort of special moves, kind of like 7. Could be wrong. It's been a while since I played it, but and the art style it had like almost as good a cutscenes as 8, but they were more good in terms of graphical fidelity, but better in terms of art design because they went with more cartoony look than 8, which tried to be serious and hardcore and shit, and it was kind of blocky, just like 7, but 7's was blocky to the extreme because they didn't know how to port shit, apparently, is what I've heard, which is why like the freaking characters in the game look like Legos, which is what I hear a lot. It's like Legos if like they had like the center of the if they had the outside of the arm ripped off or something. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That's a good comparison. Um, 9 had, you know, had better looking in-game characters than 8, in my opinion. But they were also smaller, so you could see the whole landscape a lot better than in 8. And I really enjoyed it. Final Fantasy IX is probably, again, in like one of my top 5 Final Fantasy games that I've played. But again, I should probably beat all of these games. Like, it's just, like, so long. And again, you have to grind and grind and grind. I mean, it's not like, easy-ass games I've played in later generations, like Kingdom Hearts, where it's an action RPG. You just grind. It's easy to grind. You just kill like 100 things that all look the same. Final Fantasy, you have to kill 1,000 things that you've seen a million times. Okay, it's the same concept, but it's a lot easier in modern games, sadly. Right, that's what I like about Final Fantasy, is that you get more out of it for your time. You see different things. Eventually they'll show you, hey, here's this boss monster. You rarely get that in modern games unless you're playing like a freaking really hard game like Bloodborne is what was the new one out. Dark Souls, which I tried to play, I got my ass handed to me. I beat the first boss. I mean, I had to live a couple walkthrough, but I beat him. That's way better than I ever did in Demon Souls, which still haunts my soul and kicks my ass harder than any game ever. Even Jak 2, which, holy crap, like one of the only hard games on the PS2. Holy shit. I love that game. It's hard to decide which is better, Jak 2 or 3. 3 was much easier, but had Light Jak, which was awesome. And it almost ended the series on a good note. I didn't really care that Ashlyn, the big ass chick, was his new girlfriend. I didn't really get that. And they fixed it with Jak X, and Jak X was awesome. And I wish more people played it, and I wish fucking Sony had ported it to PS3. You assholes! I wanted to play a racing game online. It didn't suck. Seriously. The fuck, Sony? Damn it. Anyway, Square, get on a Final Fantasy collection. I've given you plenty of decent ideas with this concept. Why won't you work on it? Why aren't you making money? Well, okay, you are making money now. You got Final Fantasy Type 0. You're doing way better than Sega, who also announced that they are also doing poorly financially. And Capcom. And only you and Capcom have risen from the ashes, like a phoenix, to the sun. You have fucking brought yourself back from the grave. Now help Sega, because I kind of like them more. And they have fucking Phantasy Star. And they haven't done shit. Maybe you could buy them? Please? I could use more Phantasy Star. The original, a fucking RPG, and not an online bullshit MMO. You could do that, Square. Actually, you could do a 3D one, kind of like Phantasy Star Online, but not online. You could make it like Final Fantasy 9 or 10 or 12. Just make it awesome. You could buy Sega. I wouldn't give a fuck. But yeah, anyways, this has been my thoughts on a Final Fantasy collection. If you have any other ideas for a Final Fantasy collection, maybe a modern 3D era collection, maybe a Final Fantasy 13 trilogy, because, I don't know, maybe you actually enjoy those games. I gave up after 13-1. I got like 4 to 5 hours in. I read all of the annoying story in the menus, which was dumb, okay? You defend this, and I will, not only will I chastise you, I will castrate you, and I will wreck your shit up, okay? I will. I will find where you live. Not really, but yeah, no. Do not defend bullshit story in menus. I already hate that Kingdom Hearts does it, and I'm the only one who reads it. So if I'm willing to do it there, and it's not as horrible, why would you accept when it's just as awful and done 3 times as bad in a Final Fantasy game? I don't comprehend this. I do not. But anyways, this has been me. Please,